My days are done around here. Could be sooner than later. The whole world will acknowledge me.
The Bloodline has undoubtedly become the greatest storyline in fashion and wrestling history. There is no Renaissance era without the Bloodline. With Roman losing at Mania, it marks the end of an era. So, without any further ado, let's break it down. DX type shit. So to understand the whole story, you have to understand the family ties, Keem and K-Dot type shit. But this is the deepest and most complex family ever. They might be able to take down the cartel. But anyways, let's take a look. So a little disclaimer real quick. I'm a white male. I'm not really with the brothers. So the name association and pronunciation, it's gonna be kind of bad, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta deal with it. Look, I didn't make the rules, man. I'm just telling you. All right, so first we start with Tova Leo Maniana Emitiane. And Emitiane started this big-ass dynasty. Oh, that's going to be hard. All right, so Emitiane and Peter Maivia were blood brothers, right? And Emitiane's sons were also Alpha and Sika, who were known as the Wild Samoans, with Alpha being Reigns' uncle and Sika being Roman's father. But Christian Cage is also in this as the father of the Usos. I don't know why I'm just playing, bro. Oh, why am I the way that I am? All right, anyways, back to it. So Ophelia Fuataga was the wife of Peter Maivia and also a wrestling promoter and The Rock's grandma. I promise I'm not a stalker, bro. I'm just doing my research and I'm giving y'all the info, bro. Don't be mad at me. Josephine is the first cousin of Peter Maivia and the father of Nia Jax. If you didn't know, Nia Jax is a female wrestler currently wrestling on Raw. She was hella hated, but now she's pretty cool, to be honest. But Matthew Anoa'i was the son of Sika and brother of Roman Reigns, who unfortunately died, ripped to him, and all the members of the Bloodline who died. Elvira Anoa'i is the mother of Rikishi, and Falau Salafa Fatu Sr., man, this guy gets all the vowels in his name, is the father of Rikishi. I'm trying my best, man, I really am. But Toa Maivia and Ada Maivia are siblings. Rocky Johnson was the first black Georgia heavyweight champion and also very known for his tag team title run with Tony Atlas. He is also the father of The Rock. Samuel Fatu, aka Tonga Kid, is the older brother of Umaga, twin brother of Rikishi, and father of Jacob Fatu, who is probably going to go to the WWE very soon. Umaga teamed with Rosie in his first WWE run and unfortunately passed away. Rest in peace. Rikishi is the father of Jimmy and Jay Uso and Solo Sikoa. Yokozuna is also in his family and he's cousins with The Rock. Talisua Farabawi is the wife of Rikishi and the mother of the Usos and Solo. The Rock is the cousin of Roman, and Donnie Garcia was his wife who he had one child with, and that is Simone Johnson, who is a female wrestler / GM in NXT right now. Jimmy Superfly Snuka married into the family with Sharon Georgie and is the father of Tamina, who is a current WWE female wrestler. Samuel Anoa'i is the son of Alpha and father of Lance Anoa'i. Alpha Anoa'i Jr. is the son of Alpha and was Randy Orton's group Legacy. Bernadette Anoa'i Schreier is the daughter of Alpha and has a Pinterest account. Nah, that's bad, I'm sorry. I don't know what else she did though, bro. Like, that's not my fault. But anyways, like, they need to be stopped, bro. This family has so many bodies, like, I swear. But Lloyd Anoa'i is the cousin of The Rock and son of Alpha. Monica Anoa'i is the daughter of Alpha. Jacob Fatu is the son of Tonga Kid. Trinity Fatu is married to Jimmy Uso, is also known as Naomi, and she just came back to WWE recently. But Jimmy and Jay Uso are also one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and you know them. And they are a huge part of the Bloodline. Giovanni Menelissa Fatu is the daughter of Rikishi and sister of the Usos and Solo. Jeremiah Renyanda Fatu is also son of Rikishi. Solo Sikoa is a part of the Bloodline and younger brother of the Usos and son of Rikishi. Deuce from Deuce and Domino is also somehow in his Bloodline, but who cares about Deuce? You know what? I'm gonna count him, bro. And Sami Zayn is also an honorary Us. But alright, bro. Thank God I finished that. I was having such a problem, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But thank God I finished that Mafia. But let's get it. Let's get straight to the action. But during COVID, Roman Reigns was supposed to face Goldberg at WrestleMania 36, but pulled out because of past health problems. It would be the last time Roman was seen as a babyface. But at SummerSlam 2020, The Fiend would be facing Braun Strowman for the Universal title, and no offense, it was a pretty boring match. But at the end, Roman would come back and absolutely destroy The Fiend and Braun Strowman. But Roman was back, but it didn't look like he was a face, and he wasn't playing any games. On the next episode of SmackDown, Roman would stand on the heel rumors and make it clear that he was a heel by aligning himself with Paul Heyman. Name a bigger meat rider than Paul Heyman. I don't think you can, to be honest. But at Payback 2020, Roman Reigns would come out late into the match, barely break a sweat, and defeat Braun and Bray for the Universal title. The next SmackDown, WWE would have a fatal 4-way #1 contenders match for Reigns' Universal title, including Baron Corbin, Sheamus, Riddle, and Jey Uso.
Jey Uso would go on to win this match, and Roman Reigns' first feud as a champion would be set. The next week, Roman and Jay would be in a tag team match against Sheamus and Corbin, where Roman would make Jay do all the work, come out, and steal the win. By the way, we did a fun video on this Jay and Roman feud, but if you guys have a few minutes, please check it out. It's a really good video. But don't worry, y'all, we're finna explain most of the story in this video too. After this, Jay Uso would call out Roman. Jay was tired of being known as just a twin. He wanted the spotlight, but Roman wasn't hearing none of this, honestly. As Jay was heading backstage, Roman would get the drop on his op, spun the block, and hit him with a Superman punch. Roman would flex the title on his face and say, "He will never take this title. He will never take my place at the head of the table." Straight goosebumps, man. This promo was really good. At Clash of the Champions, Roman would have a beautiful match, but at the end, Jay was getting straight dog styled by Roman. Like, he was getting his ass whooped, but Jimmy would come out injured, like limping and shit. Jimmy has seen enough of this attack. Paul and Roman were pleading for Jimmy to throw the towel in. Jimmy was torn, honestly, but before he would end up fully deciding, Roman would get on top and basically just beating the shit out of Jay. Jay had no other choice, without hesitation, throwing the towel. Roman would go on after he threw in the towel and retaining the title, but honestly, at what cost? The next week after the pay-per-view, Roman explained his actions and said that he wants to be acknowledged. He would also go on to say that he wanted to raise Jay up, and he said in order to feed his family, he had to make sacrifices. Roman also said that Jay broke his heart, and Roman also notices Jay keeps staring down at his title, and he gives Jay another shot at the world title at Hell in a Cell. On the October 23rd episode of SmackDown, Jimmy would be shown backstage at the head of the table having a picnic by himself. I guess it's lonely at the table, but the problem for Roman was he had a face mask on. He thought it was Jay. So Roman's defense, they have the same qualities. I wouldn't have known either, but it was a trap. They caught the tribal chief lacking. Jimmy tells Roman to turn around and turns into a super kick from Jay. During the same show, Roman Reigns was done with their shenanigans and started pressing them. Roman would go on to say if they don't stop pulling stunts, they would be kicked out of the family. The Usos' kids and their kids. And honestly, this was a great, deep, personal promo, but now we get into the Hell in a Cell match. The match will be built into an I Quit match, Hell in a Cell match. This was as good as a match WWE could ever be. It's not as brutal as other Hell in a Cell matches, but I don't care. It's still a top 5 Hell in a Cell match ever. On God. It's storytelling, classic, back and forth, well-paced action, and they make every move count. At the end, Roman was standing over Jay with steel steps in hand. Refs, GMs, and officials all standing around the ring with the door open. Also, shout out JB Noble. He was there. JB Noble, that's my dog, but JB Noble, you know, I'm really noble. Walks out. But anyways, let's get right back into it. Jimmy comes out again, jumps over Jay, and tells Roman he needs to stop. Roman falls down, starts crying, and Roman says, I don't even know who I am anymore. Roman would go on to shake Jimmy's hand, and it would actually look like Roman has cracked, but it was a trap. Roman put a guillotine on Jimmy. Jay woke up and realized what was happening and said, I quit. This was nothing like I've ever seen before. This was one of the most beautiful stories we have ever seen in WWE history or in any wrestling, but in anything, you can't beat this. We're literally born to do this. Newer wrestlers should go on to study this match. If I wanted to get someone into wrestling that hasn't watched wrestling in a while or even ever, I would show them this match. 5 stars can never be replaced, and this is why people like wrestling. So Jimmy saved Jay again, or he screwed him again, whichever way you want to look at it. In the October 30th, 2020 episode of SmackDown, Jay had finally had enough. Jay finally acknowledged Roman Reigns. Jay would go on to fall in line, and his first order of business was to beat the hell out of Daniel Bryan. Jay would also eventually put Bryan through an announce table as well. I think when there was no fans, it made a lot of them better. They didn't have to depend on cheap crowd pops or deal with amazing fans. Thunderdome Roman was one of the greatest wrestlers WWE has ever seen, but fast forward to Survivor Series 2020, Jey Uso would be the lone survivor.
And he was in there against all 5 of Raw's team. Uso was against all odds and was popping motherfuckers with super kicks, but it wasn't enough. Keith Lee, free my boy by the way, and no, not the food reviewer, would end up pinning Jay and get the clean sweep. And you already know, Roman was not happy with this. Roman blames Jay for losing. Roman also kicks Jay out of the arena. And for the main event, Roman will face Drew McIntyre, champ versus champ. Roman and Drew clashed for the very first time in a very competitive match. Drew held his own and looked like a very completely valid opponent. Roman would eventually go on to beat Drew, making him pass out to the guillotine choke. The next SmackDown, Roman calls Jay a failure. Jay snapped. As Jay was walking backstage, Otis would come out for his match, but before he could make it far, Jay was out for blood, and he attacked Otis with a chair. But poor Otis. The next week, Roman would damn near commit murder. Roman and Jay would take turns whopping Owens back and forth with chairs, and it was insane to be honest. Roman wasn't done with just that though. Roman would also target Jay with multiple chair shots. And after this, Roman would defend the Universal title against Owens in a TLC match. Roman would then go on to defeat Owens in honestly a really good match with the help of Jey Uso as well. And honestly, in my opinion, this is one of Roman's best feuds of all time. Like, besides the Jey Uso feud, I think this is up there. Like, this is kind of like Cena and AJ for me, where it has that special vibe, and the series of matches they had were just perfect. Reigns would also have a rematch in a steel cage match with Owens on a December 25th episode of SmackDown, and what do you know, Jey Uso bailed out Roman Reigns again. But Owens was a fighter. He would get one more shot at the Tribal Chief at the Royal Rumble in a last man standing match, where the match had incredible spots, like Kevin Owens getting hit with the golf cart. It was amazing. And I love matches like this. They went backstage. They went everywhere. It honestly felt like a Here Comes the Pain gameplay, to be honest. And I got to be honest, Kevin Owens had him beat, but that botch at the end, he kind of got saved, bro. I'm going to be honest. They rigged the system for the Tribal Chief. I got to be honest. Kevin Owens almost had him. But in the end, Roman Reigns would officially retain. And then after this, Roman Reigns would battle against someone he had history with. Someone that made all the fans hate Roman Reigns. Who is that person? Daniel Bryan. And what better way to get payback than to beat Daniel Bryan? And Roman packed his ass up. He swept that boy. He beat him at the Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, and he would also go on a feud with him and Edge at the same time going into WrestleMania 37. And I remember the build for WrestleMania 37. Everybody just wanted a one-on-one between Roman Reigns and Edge. But triple threat matches are so much better than 1v1 matches. But Edge won the Royal Rumble, and Daniel Bryan, he kind of just got inserted in there, to be honest. But at the end, it was best for everybody because that match had a very interesting story where they all had something left. Daniel Bryan got injured and was gone for so long. Edge got injured and was gone for so long, and Roman just came back, and it made for a perfect blend in which anybody could have won. And I low-key thought Edge was going to win this. The match was a back-and-forth, beautiful match. WrestleMania 37 needed this because looking back, the Mania kind of lagged a little bit. Like, as it was going on, it was kind of fun because, the crowd was there and they had all that stuff, but it was kind of lacking. But this match really helped it and made up for it. But at the end, Roman would prove that they were just no comp on his block. He smashed them, stacked them, 1, 2, 3, pause by the way, but he got the job done. Those two men were not done though. They can't just get stacked in the main event of WrestleMania and just go out like that. So a few weeks later, on the April 30th episode of SmackDown, Daniel Bryan would put his career on the line against Roman in a title match. Probably not the smartest move, but hey, desperate people do desperate things. But Daniel Bryan had the heart of a warrior. Shout out that one random 2K15 song, that shit was hard. But Daniel Bryan would fight and claw and try everything in his power to win this match. But Roman Reigns would come out and beat Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan's career was officially over. Until he showed up in AEW, that backstabbing bastard. Nah, I'm trolling. It was probably best for everybody involved, but I do wish that Daniel Bryan was still in WWE today because there would be so many cool matches with him, but it's okay. And after all that, Roman Reigns' next challenger would be Cesaro. This boo-boo ass push they gave Cesaro, bro. They gave Cesaro like a 3-week push. And bro, I'm not gonna lie. This 3-week push Cesaro is one of the craziest wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. He was so cracked out, bro. I'm not gonna lie. In the segments though, Roman basically hell out of Cesaro. And at Backlash, it was kind of an easy win. But it was a good match though. It was a really good match, but we all know Cesaro wasn't winning, bro. Let's be for real. And coming up next, Roman Reigns' next feud would be against Rey Mysterio, where honestly, they were just getting bullied by Roman. This was bad. Dom got his ass packed up, thrown over the top rope. Yeah, this was just completely filler, though. This is like the mac and cheese to the side. But the two would face off in a Hell in a Cell match in the June 18th episode of SmackDown, with Roman Reigns obviously retaining. And on the next episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns would be talking that rah-rah on how he beat Rey Mysterio, but he would get attacked by Edge. Yes, Edge was not done. The two would square off for a match at Money in the Bank on July 18th, which was the first pay-per-view with fans back. It was awesome. This pay-per-view was top tier. The match was pretty decent, but I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably never go back to this. But Roman Reigns would end up retaining the title due to Seth costing Edge. And at the very end, Roman Reigns would have a live microphone in his hands. He said, "Now the whole world can acknowledge me." John Cena's music would hit, and we were in for a treat. Honestly, the new number one guy, and in my opinion, the greatest of all time. We were set for another feud, but it wasn't how they were last time. In the promos last time, Roman got absolutely obliterated, but now he could hold his own against John Cena. As soon as Roman turned into the tribal chief, this was the feud that I wanted to see. And honestly, it did not disappoint. Man, this was such a special era in wrestling. On one channel, you had John Cena and Roman Reigns going at it. I remember this vividly. And on another channel, you would have CM Punk coming back to Rampage. Oh my God, it was so good. But these promos were honestly just really good. Cena would talk about CM Punk. He would talk about he ran Dean Ambrose out of the WWE, everything. This was perfect. And Roman Reigns would also clap back. He said it's like missionary every single night. This was perfect, bro. But Cena said it was very simple. All Cena needed was 1, 2, 3. All he needed was one lucky shot to pin Roman Reigns and end the Tribal Chief run. But Roman didn't want to face Cena. He didn't. He declined all of his challenges until Cena would sign a contract that wasn't his, cut the Finn Balor, and Baron Corbin was also in the mix. By the way, I dropped a Baron Corbin video. Go check that out. It's amazing. But the match was made official, and it was on SummerSlam, John Cena versus Roman Reigns. The match, it was kind of underwhelming. Like, it was good to an extent, but Cena was just trying to do roll-ups. Like, bro, that is not the GOAT that I know, bro. I don't know if they cloned him. I don't know who this is, bro. This ain't the 16-time world champion. Like, I don't know, bro. There was one spot in this match that still makes me laugh to this day. John Cena was in the corner. He was sizing up Roman Reigns. He was getting hype. He was getting into it. He was going to steal Roman's move. He was going to hit the spear on Roman Reigns. John Cena went in the corner, did some type of squeal, and, bro, it was like, oh, it was so bad, bro. They exposed my GOAT. But anyways, Roman Reigns would defeat John Cena. And you would think, right, that's a huge weight to be lifted off of someone's shoulders. Beating the GOAT, you know, that's a crazy accomplishment. Roman Reigns could finally relax. But after the match, Brock Lesnar would come out, and he wanted all the smoke. Cowboy Brock was in there. And I know a lot of people don't like him nowadays, but, you know, we're back in 2021. You know, I'm going to take y'all back a little ride. You know what I'm saying? And we saw Roman and Brock so many times, and all the matches were garbage except for WrestleMania 31. But it's different now. It's going to hit different, I'm telling you. Because on one hand, you have Brock as the face, and now Roman is the heel. And Roman Reigns is in the prime of his career, and this is Cowboy Brock. This isn't the average, just asshole Brock. This is all on a different level. And now Roman Reigns as Paul Heyman. This just adds so many elements to the story.
After SummerSlam, Roman would get into a feud with Finn Balor, with the match taking place at Extreme Rules. During the match, a funny moment, Roman would just get a mask out of nowhere because COVID was still a thing at this time, and just put it on. You know, the crowd was kind of booing at him. But the match would be a pretty good match. At the end, the demon would be dead, but then his music started playing. He was spazzing out, I'm not going to lie. Pat McAfee was going through it. The demon, he gets the advantage. Starts beating the Usos' ass. Paul Heyman's ass, he's beating everyone's ass. Oh, wait, he's climbing up to the turnbuckle. Hit his finisher, and the fucking thing breaks. If this was planned, this is an amazing 10 out of 10 move. But then Roman would just capitalize, hit him with a Superman punch, spear, and yeah, Roman retained on a shitty ending. After the Finn Balor match, the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns feud would continue at Crown Jewel on October 21st. At Crown Jewel, they would have a pretty good match. At the end of the match, Paul Heyman would be very conflicted and wanted to stay neutral, so he threw the belt in the middle of the ring, and whoever got it, got it. The Usos would come out, help Roman, and yeah, Roman would hit him with the belt, and Roman would retain again. His next match as a champion will be on November 21st at Survivor Series. His title will not be on the line, but he'd be facing the Raw champion, Big E. The match would be, it was okay, but Roman would get the win. On the December 3rd episode of SmackDown, Sami Zayn would earn a number one contendership for the WWE title against Roman. And basically, this match, it was just a squash match. Lesnar would attack Sami Zayn. I think the dude was in a poor wheelchair, so, prayers up to Sami. But, yeah, I think Roman would just put him in a guillotine, and the match would be over in 10 seconds. But, y'all, this is not the last time we'll see Sami Zayn in the Bloodline, but we'll get that later in the video. On the December 17th episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns will fire his special counsel, Paul Heyman. Heyman would be fired for past association with Lesnar, Reigns was scheduled to defend his title against Lesnar at the Day 1 event on January 1st, 2022. But the match would be canceled after Reigns testing positive for COVID-19. On January 16th, Roman Reigns surpassed Lesnar's 503-day reign to become the longest reigning Universal Champion. Reigns at this point would be the 6th longest World Champion reign in the company's history. On the January 29th, at the Royal Rumble event, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins would have a feud for the title. Bro, Roman would be chilling, with the title on his shoulder, like all swagged out. Bro, Rollins would come out with the Shield music, with the Shield gear, and I'm not gonna lie, it gave me goosebumps. I was hyped. Like, it was tough for real. This match was a really good match, but I'm not gonna lie, Roman was just beating the shit out of Seth, which the ref would have to call the belt a disqualification. But if you know anything about the WWE, champion can't lose his belt on disqualification, so he kept his belt. And here's an honest fact for y'all. Seth Rollins always beats Roman in big matches. Later that same night, Roman would interfere in the WWE Championship match between Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. And during this, he would reunite with Paul Heyman, causing the upset victory for Lashley to retain the championship. And again, during the same night, after losing the match, Lesnar would enter the Royal Rumble and he would win, eventually challenging Roman Reigns for the main event at WrestleMania 38. I just have to say this, and I think Angie would agree. This is the worst Royal Rumble of all time. And one more thing, I feel like Brock Lesnar's an ass kisser. Oh my God, he kisses so much ass. Right before WrestleMania, Lesnar would actually win the WWE Championship, which at WrestleMania 38, it would be a unified title match. And before I go into this match, I just want you to know, in my personal opinion, this is the worst main event of WrestleMania in history. This match was only 15 minutes, but to Roman's credit, I think he popped his shoulder or something happened. But and for this next part, I'm gonna give Ange the phone because look, right when his shoulder popped, Roman escaped out of the Kimura lock, which is a very dangerous move, by the way. But he's on the ground, he's yelling, "It's out! It's out!" like about his shoulder. So Paul Heyman is giving Roman Reigns the greatest motivational pep talk I think I've ever heard in my life. So Ange, what was he saying to the Tribal Chief? Rise up, my Tribal Chief! This is for our family! This is for your bloodline! You can beat the Cowboy! Rise up, my Tribal Chief! Thank you, Ange, for mimicking that great, motivational speech. We want Paul Heyman to be in flight, but, Anywho, Lesnar would go on to lose the match. Roman would go on to win, unify both of the titles. Just show the picture with him holding both of the titles up. Oh, with the fireworks going off in the back. Oh, that shit was tough. But Roman unified both titles. And honestly, at this time, he would fight Goldberg for the title at the Elimination Chamber. But honestly, who cares about Goldberg? I think it was a 5-minute match and Roman just squashed him. But I will never forgive Goldberg for what he did to Bray Wyatt. At WrestleMania Backlash on May 8th, Reigns and the Usos would go on to defeat RK Bro, Matt Riddle, and Randy Orton and McIntyre in a 6-man tag match. And my theories on why they did this match is because they were trying to buy time for the Roman injury to make sure he was fully 100% to go. On the June 17th episode of SmackDown, Reigns successfully defended the Universal Championship against Riddle, but after the match, he was attacked by someone. I'm going to give you guys a second to think about who it was. All right, you guys got your answers? Who do you guys think it was? Brock Lesnar to renew the rivalry to set up a last man standing match at SummerSlam. All right, Ange, before we go into the SummerSlam match, I have a question for you.
What up, man?
Why the does Brock Lesnar kiss so much ass and get so many title shots?
I think him and Vince just had that chemistry after that 2-man, bro. This match was straight nuts. Brock pulled up in a tractor. He actually cut a promo on Roman before that match actually started, and Brock threw it so perfect, and Roman just caught it and gave him a wink. It was perfect. But during the match, it would be straight carnage. This was probably the best Brock vs. Roman match of all time. And honestly, it needed something like this. It had one of the craziest visuals I've ever seen. Brock would lift up the whole ring with the tractor. And the Usos would also interfere, which was kind of annoying at this point because they would get involved in every single Roman title match. And this is also the point where Roman started being AFK and started phoning in a little bit. But Theory would come out with his Money in the Bank briefcase, and obviously he would fail to cash in. What was he doing, bro? He's the worst Money in the Bank holder ever. But Brock would also get buried underneath steel steps, the announce table, everything. He got buried legitimately by Roman Reigns. Crazy match. And this was the first pay-per-view that Triple H took over. So this was it was a movie. And around this time, the Usos would also be going crazy because they beat RK Bro for the unified WWE Tag Team Championships. And up and around this point, the Usos were kind of Roman's lackeys. But I just want to point out that Jey Uso is the most important member of the Bloodline because all the stories from this point on would go through him, and it started with him. So I just want to point that out. But another familiar foe from the past with Roman would emerge again as Drew McIntyre would have a career renaissance, and at Clash at the Castle on September 3rd, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre would face. But this wasn't the old Drew McIntyre from 2020. This was a whole new Drew McIntyre. And he also would come out to the Broken Dreams theme song. Y'all know about that song, but it was only for a little bit though. But however, Roman Reigns and Drew would go back and forth, and it was a great match. But the bloodline runs deep, like I told you in the beginning of this video, and they never stop getting it on, if y'all know what I'm saying. But a knucklehead named Solo Sikoa would pop out of nowhere, causing interference and distract Drew McIntyre and cause him from winning the WWE Unified title. And I had to talk about these segments with Sami Zayn. These were just iconic, and I'm telling you, these will age very, very well. But on the September 23rd episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns would kind of question Sami Zayn. He's like, what are you doing here, man? And he would also tell Sami Zayn to take off his Bloodline shirt. See, Jimmy and Sami were tight around this time. Solo was indifferent, Roman was feeling him a little bit, but Jay absolutely hated Sami. So when Roman said this, Jay went nuts. He started ripping his shirt off of Sami. He was trying everything in his power to get Sami out of the bloodline. Roman says he doesn't want to see Sami in that shirt ever again because he got him a new one. Oh my, yo, I'm not gonna, this was cute, bro. Like, pause, but this was cute, bro. This was like a great segment. It was just a nerd fitting in with the popular kids. It was so cool, and Jay was not having this. He was standing off to the side. It was so funny, bro. His face was just, oh my God, it was priceless. And Sami's shirt said honorary Uce, and it was just awesome. And by the way, the Bloodline are the worst actors ever, bro. They break character in every single segment they had at this point. But after this, Roman would have an unlikely challenger. And the next guy would be Logan Paul. They were just playing seeds at this point though, because Logan Paul would call Jey Uso the real tribal chief. And on the October 28th episode of SmackDown, Jey Uso would question Sami Zayn. And he would yell at Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn was like, yo, I'm just trying to make peace. The tribal chief said he wants peace. And Jay would say, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief say. And Roman's face told the whole story. Jey Uso up, bro. Roman was about to tear him apart, but Sami would actually save Jay. Sami would say that Jay wasn't feeling Uzi. This was so good. Sami was so funny during this time, and everybody started laughing. The fans were laughing, the bloodline cracked, everybody was breaking character. It was so good, bro. You could just tell they were having so much fun during this segment. But fast forward to Crown Jewel, the Usos successfully retained their tag titles against the Brawling Brutes, and Roman Reigns would also face Logan Paul in a very good match. I was not expecting this. Logan Paul is super athletic, and I don't know who asked for this match, but it was a banger. And Logan Paul's like 4th match in the WWE, he would face the Tribal Chief for the championship. That is a crazy achievement. But Logan knew the Usos were going to come out and try to interfere, so he brought some backup in his own way. Jake Paul would come out to its everyday bro, and he started messing shit up. He was punching. I'm not gonna lie, Jake Paul's kind of corny, but I respect them, bro, because they should not have lasted this far and lasted this long. So he came out, and, you know, I don't think he got a bad reaction or a bad reception, so it was pretty cool. But Logan will make another viral moment happen when he put Roman Reigns through the announce table while recording himself. So from the top rope to the announce table, that takes crazy guts, and it was insane. But Roman Reigns would also end up retaining his title, and Logan Paul would get injured after this match. But next up, we would have WarGames Survivor Series. The Bloodline would face the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens in a WarGames match with, if you don't know, Kevin Owens is a longtime friend of Sami Zayn. So this is going to be chaotic. But, you know, it was like a usual WarGames match. The main part just picks up in the last, like, 10 minutes. That's, like, my only problem with the match type. I don't know how they could fix that, but if they could, like, make it better in the beginning and the middle and not just in the end, that would be really great. But Sami had to make a choice. Is he going to choose his best friend, or is he going to choose the Bloodline? Now, Kevin Owens would hit Roman Reigns with a pop-up powerbomb and a stunner. Everybody was down. Every man was in the ring so he could go for a pin. But Owens hits the stunner on Roman. He's going for the cover. 1, 2. Sami Zayn out of nowhere grabs the ref's arm, which is a great touch because he didn't hit Kevin. He didn't break up the pin. He just grabbed the ref. He didn't pick a side yet. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would be arguing for the next like 20 seconds, but people would start getting up. Jimmy would go for a super kick on Owens, but Owens would block it. And now it was just Owens, Jimmy, and Sami in the ring. Owens was holding Jimmy's foot, and Sami would go down to his knees like he was about to propose. And shout out to the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. Sami Zayn would hit a low blow on his best friend and screw over Kevin Owens. He He would put Owens in the corner. He would wake up Roman Reigns. Roman would give him the nod of approval. And Sami Zayn would hit Kevin Owens with the haluva kick. And Owens would fall into Zayn's arms, like their first feud in 2017 on the main roster. And it was all just a huge story. If you were watching wrestling during that time, you felt this one. But the Bloodline would end up winning the match. And after the match, the guy that hated Sami the most, Jey Uso, would hug Sami Zayn and they would embrace. This was a special moment, and this was awesome. But after this, Kevin Owens and John Cena would end up facing Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn in a tag team match on SmackDown, and the match wasn't really anything that special, but Owens and John Cena would win, and it would kind of form this little, tension between Sami and Roman. But fast forward to the January 23rd episode of Raw, Sami Zayn was put on trial by Roman Reigns in tribal court, which Roman would accuse Sami Zayn of plotting against the Bloodline and being secretly in league with his longtime frenemy, Kevin Owens. This was an amazing segment. You gotta watch this. It kind of reminded me like the Festival of Friendship a little bit. It's like one of those legendary segments that you have to watch. And in 10 years, we'd probably still be watching. Paul Heyman will also act as a prosecutor and showed several videos of him being like weird towards the Bloodline. But Sami Zayn would say that he didn't have a defense. He didn't need a defense. He thought he was family and he was kind of just weirded out by this whole thing. But Roman would just go insane, bad shit, nuts. He put out his Denzel Washington acting. He said that, oh, you're not going to fight for this anymore? This family doesn't mean anything? You don't have enough? Enough! Solo! Roman would call for Solo to basically kill Sami Zayn. And just as Solo was about to kill Sami Zayn, Jey Uso would come out and save Sami Zayn and he would protect him. The guy that hated Sami the most actually saved him. You know, just clap it up. I want everybody at home right now, just clap. Come on, join me, bro. Join me. Come on. This was absolutely incredible, bro. You can't top this. Like, this was probably one of the best segments in the Bloodline history and honestly one of the best segments of the decade. But Sami Zayn would be declared innocent by Roman Reigns. And later that night, the Usos would defend their Raw Tag Team Championships against the Judgment Day. But in the match, Jimmy would suffer an injury. And who would take his place? Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn would prove his worth again, and alongside Jey Uso, the two were victorious. But Roman Reigns would face Kevin Owens again at the Royal Rumble, and this wasn't like last time. See, the match was pretty good. It wasn't as good as their other matches, though. Those other matches were insane. But the match was really good, but Roman will retain his championship. And after the match, the Bloodline would beat up Kevin Owens, and they would tie him to the ropes. But Roman knew the Usos would beat up Kevin Owens. That's not what he wanted. He wanted Sami Zayn to beat up Kevin Owens. And this was where everything changed. But Roman Reigns would give Sami Zayn a chair, and he was basically forcing Sami Zayn to hit his best friend. And Sami Zayn was getting pushed in the face. He was getting forced. The peer pressure was immaculate right here. I'm not gonna lie. I would get peer pressure too. But Roman Reigns would turn around and start talking smack to Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn would have the chair in the hand. He would have to make a decision. But Sami Zayn would have to make the boldest decision in his career. Sami Zayn picked up the chair, and he would hit Roman Reigns in the back and backstab Roman Reigns. Just like how it happened in 2014 with the Shield. Roman Reigns got backstabbed again. What a story, man. The crowd went nuts too. Jey Uso was heartbroken and he was torn. And during this time, the Bloodline was unsure about Jey's allegiance to the group. And in the February 10th episode of SmackDown, there would be a segment between Jimmy and Jey Uso backstage, and Paul Heyman would be peeking behind a pole like a pedo, and he would be stalking the whole segment. Jimmy would talk to Jey about the Bloodline, and honestly, he wasn't too sure. But after Jey walked off, Paul would pop up back into the scene like a dad who left but came back after his son made it to the NBA, and Paul would question Jimmy on what just happened, but Jimmy wouldn't fold. But during the same episode of SmackDown, Sami Zayn would find Jey Uso backstage and he would acknowledge Jey. But fast forward to Elimination Chamber, Sami Zayn would be taking on Roman Reigns for the title, and it would be in Montreal. So the fans were definitely behind Sami Zayn, and the match would be really great. But come on, let's be honest. I know it was a popular opinion during that time, but did we really think Sami Zayn was going to win? Like, he's built like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, bro. And after this, Roman Reigns would put Jey Uso in the same position he put Sami Zayn in at the Royal Rumble. He would give Jey Uso the chair, and Sami Zayn was on the floor. He wanted Jey Uso to hit Sami, but Jey was torn. Jey threw down the chair and he didn't fold. But as they were arguing, Sami Zayn would get back up and he would go for the spear on Roman, but Roman dodged and Sami hit Jey Uso with the spear. And after this, Roman was furious. He started pummeling Sami with the chair. Fast forward to the March 6th episode of Raw, Jey Uso would have to make a choice, the Bloodline or Sami Zayn. Jimmy Uso was in the ring, and Jey Uso would walk past him, and he just left Jimmy hanging. But he would go outside the ring, and Sami was right there. He would hug Sami Zayn and throw up the ones. But it was a facade. Jey Uso would super kick Sami Zayn, and he fooled everybody. But fast forward to WrestleMania Night 1, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens would face the Usos in an incredible match. This was match of the night for the first night, 100%. The fans were rowdy, and a tag team match actually main event at WrestleMania. That's insane to me. And the Usos would also be led by Lil Uzi to the ring during their performance. And also, I just want to say, for WrestleMania 40, bro, Meek Mill got to bring out Cody Rhodes. That's the only way. But Sami and Kevin would also end up breaking their crazy, 600-day title run, and they would end up beating the Usos for the WWE Unified Tag Team Championships. Amazing match. And we go to night 2, Roman Reigns versus Cody. And how do I even do this? Because the match was incredible, right? It was so good. But Cody lost, bro. I get it now. Now I see why, he's over way more now, and I get it. But this ruined WrestleMania for me. I don't know. It just sucked all the air and made everybody depressed. But Roman Reigns would go and retain with the help of Solo Sikoa. And by the way, Solo is a sellout, bro. I can't stand Solo. But Roman Reigns would defend and retain his titles against Cody Rhodes. But the less we say about this, the better. And at Backlash, the Usos and Solo defeated Riddle, Owens, and Sami Zayn in a 6-man tag team match that was pretty good. But however, the tensions with the group further flared during the match, and it escalated when Solo almost hit Jey with the Samoan Spike. But at Night of Champions on May 27th, the Usos would interfere in the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But during the match, after accidentally attacking Solo Sikoa while aiming for Sami, Jimmy betrayed Roman Reigns, hitting him with a super kick and allowing Sami and Owens to retain the titles. On the next episode of SmackDown, during the celebration of Reigns surpassing 1,000 days as champion, Solo would turn on the Usos by attacking Jimmy and side with Roman Reigns, who officially exiled Jimmy from the group. In the following week, Paul would get Jey a WWE United States Championship match against Austin Theory to entice him, but Jimmy would accidentally end up costing Jey the match. And on the June 16th episode of SmackDown, Jey decided to side with Jimmy and super kicked Roman Reigns and helped Jimmy fend off Solo Sikoa, ending the Usos' association with Roman in the process. And at Money in the Bank, the Bloodline Civil War was official, and it put Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa against the Usos. The Usos won the match, with Jey giving Reigns his first direct pinfall loss since December of 2019 at TLC. And I'm really glad that Jey got his moment, but it kind of sucks that he didn't get more, because we all know Cody's probably going to beat Roman for the titles, and Jey was the number one guy. He deserves it the most, besides Cody. And at SummerSlam, this is where the story completely fell off, in my opinion. It just made no sense. But at SummerSlam, Jimmy would turn on Jey by pulling him out of the ring while he was trying to pin Roman and super kicked him, allowing Roman Reigns to defeat Jey. So if you're keeping track, or you were paying attention in the beginning of the video, we told you that in the first 2 matches that Jey had with Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, you could say inadvertently, or you could say on purpose, sold Jey Uso. But this is the 3rd time that they fought that Jimmy f***ed over Jey Uso. I don't know. I think he was always jealous of him, I'm gonna be honest. Jimmy explained that if Jey became the new tribal chief, the power would have corrupted him. But Jey responded by super kicking Roman, Solo, and finally Jimmy. And afterwards, he declared that he was quitting WWE and it was just getting too much for him. And a few weeks later, Jimmy returned on the September 1st episode of SmackDown with a new theme song, while Jey moved to Raw the next night at Payback with the remix version of his former entrance theme. So at this point, Roman was just completely gone and the Bloodline just went their separate ways a little bit. But Jey was at a career peak and he was over as hell with the Yeet stuff. And fast forward to Crown Jewel, Roman would defeat LA Knight in a pretty decent match. But I think LA needs to improve in his in-ring ability because his mic skills are really good. But he solo just got pushed there because of his mic skills. And then at the Royal Rumble in 2024, Roman Reigns would defend his title against LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. This match should have been so much better than it actually was. It should have been like a car crash. I was expecting it to be like Seth versus Brock versus Cena a little bit, but it was pretty decent, but Roman Reigns would retain. And then at the Royal Rumble, Jey and Jimmy would be number 1 and number 2, and they would face each other again, which was pretty cool. And then Cody Rhodes would end up winning the Rumble, and CM Punk would get injured. And now that puts us in a very interesting position because CM Punk got injured, and he was definitely going to be in the main event of Night 1. It was going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, Night 1 main event 100%, but he went down and got injured. And now we have to save Mania somehow. Triple H was probably scrambling, everybody was scrambling. So The Rock came back, and he was going to save Mania. Or well, so he thought. Cody Rhodes would come out on SmackDown and he would relinquish his shot at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. And I guess this was, alright, The Rock and Roman is the biggest dream match we could get, possibly, right now. But the way they executed this was so bad that Cody Rhodes just gave up his shot, right? He won the Rumble, gave up his shot, and the fans hated this. Like, at first, when we got the stare down between The Rock and Roman, it was amazing, but the fans hated this, and they rejected it. So, they switched back. They went to the OG plan, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns in the main event of night 2. So now, we get to the Mania 40 press conference, and this was just beautiful. The Rock and Roman were talking about their bloodline. They were talking about everything to match, but then Cody Rhodes interrupted. He started going off. He started spazzing. He was talking about the High Chief. He talked about Jay, Jimmy, the whole family. He's like, how's Jay? It's not a family. He started going off. He called the Bloodline goons. It was so good, bro. Like, this whole thing was perfect. Roman was talking bad about Dusty, but Cody made a big mistake. He mentioned the High Chief. And as soon as The Rock heard that, he walked in like Moto. This was crazy. The Rock checked him. He said, when you mention Roman's family, you're talking about my family. When you talk about his blood, you're talking about my blood. When you talk about his ancestors, talking about my ancestors. And The Rock lost it. He slapped the hell out of Cody. And the match, you know what was getting set in place right now. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Oh my God, this build was so fantastic. On the March 8th episode of SmackDown, The Rock, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes would all stand toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring. The Rock would further add to the stipulation of the tag team match, and he said that if The Rock and Roman beat Seth and Cody at night 1, then the night 2 match between Cody and Roman would be a Bloodline rules match, which means anything goes. And also, he said that if Cody lost to Roman at night 2, then he would never, ever be able to challenge for the title ever again. The two would accept the challenge, and the fact that Cody got kicked out of the main event because they didn't think that he could handle it, and then to him having like the crowd hijack everything, like the yes movement, I'm not gonna lie, I might be over exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Just everything happening, The Rock being more active, it just made everything feel more important. And it wasn't just Cody versus Roman Reigns. It was literally like everything. The WWE was on the line at this point. Cody was standing up for Team WWE, and it was just them versus the Bloodline. On the next episode of Raw, Jey Uso will come out and challenge Jimmy to a match at WrestleMania, and the match will be official on the next episode of SmackDown when Jimmy accepted it. And also on the next episode of SmackDown, The Rock would host a concert like back in the day in 2003 days. The Rock would call out Seth, Cody, and the Cody Crybabies. This was so funny. He even shouted out John Morant. He dissed everybody. It was crazy, man. Just go check this one out. As a matter of fact, go check out every Bloodline segment because we will never see anything like this ever again. And honestly, I was here for the ride and I enjoyed most of it. It was just beautiful, man. On the March 22nd episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes will meet face to face, just 1v1 face off. And Roman Reigns would call Cody the biggest number 2 there ever was, with all due respect. And Cody would say that Roman was not ready, but he wished him good luck nonetheless. He would offer his hand and he would go to shake Roman's hand, but Roman would walk out. And see, before this, Paul Heyman would make a deal to say that it was only Roman and Cody to just be in the ring by themselves. But Roman broke the deal, he broke the promise, and Jimmy and Solo would come out. But Cody was no stooge this time. He brought out Jay and Seth Rollins, and at the end, they all stood face to face. This was going to be a good one. On the March 25th episode of Raw, Cody Rhodes would start the show and he would address everything that was going on. But The Rock would make a surprise appearance and he would come out. But he didn't say anything. In fact, he would whisper something to Cody Rhodes, but we wouldn't find out what that was till the end of the show. But fast forward to the end of the show, Cody Rhodes was walking back in like the parking lot area, but like inside the building still, and The Rock would absolutely blindside him. The Rock would just decimate him for the next like 20 minutes. He would beat him up in the rain. He would make him bleed. It was like a 2000s R&B music video with the rain. It was crazy. But he brought out a belt. He brought out a gift for Mama Rhodes, and it was a belt. It said Mama Rhodes on it, and he would put Cody Rhodes' blood on it. This visual was just absolutely insane, and this was a heel Rock that we haven't seen before. I think this is one of the best Rocks ever. Like, this is one of the best Rock gimmicks of all time. But even at the end of the show, they tried to turn it off. They tried to cancel it. And The Rock's like, no, The Rock's done when The Rock says it's done. On the April 1st episode of Raw, the Bloodline would just lay waste to Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. They would start whipping them with the belts. They would do everything in their power to lower their ability at Mania. But the belt whipping, everything was just kind of insane. But on the next episode of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins will get their get back when they join Jey Uso and just obliterating Solo and Jimmy Uso. Which, I'm going to be honest, after this, like, I kind of want Jimmy and Jey to be cool again. I don't know what they're going to do, but I hope they'd be cool again. But they would whip them like they got whipped on Raw. And everything was falling into place for WrestleMania 40, Night 1 and Night 2. But if I'm Seth Rollins, I'm leaving Cody, bro. The only thing it's done for me is just get me whipped and get me injured and shit. And I got to face a psychopath in Night 2, and I got to help you in the main event of Night 1. Like, come on, this is a lot. This is a lot for Seth. But now we get to Night 1 of WrestleMania. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. This match was just a huge brawl. And during the match, the ref would try to count them out. Like, they would go outside the ring and try to count them out. But The Rock was having none of this. He was like, what the hell are you doing? If you count this, you're fired. So the ref was basically traumatized at this point. He couldn't really do anything. And they were just playing unfair. Cody was getting screwed over. Seth was getting screwed over. They would go like back to the fan, like the crowd area. They would fight back there. Cody Rhodes would rock bottom the Rock through the announce table. Roman Reigns would actually spear the Rock. Don't forget about that one. I think they're gonna do something with that later on. But Roman would accidentally spear the Rock, and everything would just go crazy. But the Bloodline would end up picking up the win. Heading into Night 2, we would get Bloodline rules. Jey and Jimmy would also have their match on Night 1, but it wasn't really anything crazy. Like, I thought it was going to be so much better than this. It was really just a bunch of super kicks. Jimmy would sucker Jey in. He would, like, pretend he was going to hug him or something, but I don't know. This match was just bad. It might have been the fan reaction. The crowd was kind of dead because it was cold outside, but Jey would end up picking up the win, and I don't know. They didn't even hug afterwards. I don't know what the point of this was, but it wasn't that good. But we get to Night 2. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, the rematch everybody wanted. And this match was nothing short of incredible. Like, one of the best matches and one of the best endings to WrestleMania I've ever seen in my life. So this would happen. Cody Rhodes and Roman would be fighting, but Jimmy Uso would come out. He would interfere, hit Cody with a super kick. But main event, Jey Uso, my boy, would come out, beat the shit out of Jimmy, spear him off the ramp on the two tables. I thought they missed, but it was crazy. But then Solo would come out. I'm like, oh my God, not this again, not the Mania 39 finish. But Solo would spike him. He would get Cody up. He was like, you gotta finish this, Roman. Finish his story. Roman was like, I know. And they would get Cody up, set him up for the spear and the spike at the same time. 1, 2. Oh, Cody kicks out. But Solo's not buying this. He's walking around the ring. He's grumpy. He's mad. And John Cena would come out. Oh, the pop was crazy. John Cena would come out, run kind of wicked, kind of weird. But he would come out, AA Solo, AA Roman. He would take Solo outside, AA him through the announce table. And John Cena was just looking around. He was like, yeah, I'm the man. And then The Rock's music would hit. Goosebumps. This took me back to when I was like 10 years old, man. The Rock would come down to the ring. Cena would come to the ring. It was just a full stare down of, in my opinion, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, WrestleMania 28. They were just soaking it in a little bit. And John Cena made the same mistake he made of WrestleMania 28. He got too cocky. See, Cena went for the you can't see me. He's like, oh, okay, I got this. He went for the punch. The Rock ducked. Rock bottom. Get the out of The Rock's ring. The Rock was just fuming at this point. He was having none of this. But my goat just went down in flames. But it's okay. He did enough work. But then The Rock would be having the belt in his hands. He would have the belt. And the Shield's music would hit. Dun it, dun it. I'm so delusional, but I thought Dean Ambrose was coming out. But it was just Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns saw this. He did not let The Rock get backstabbed by Seth Rollins. He saved The Rock by getting hit with the chair because Seth came out with a chair. He came in the ring, Superman punch, bow, see ya, you're done. I was like, bro, Seth, what are you doing? You're so useless. But it was for a bigger picture, I understand. So The Rock was in prime position. He was in the middle of the ring. He had the belt in his hand. He was getting up Cody. He was like, get up, Cody. I'm going to finish you. All you hear is The Undertaker, the real final boss, the dead man, would come out. And it was one of the loudest pops I've ever heard in my life. I thought like, oh, this is Stone Cold 100%. But the plot twist was perfect. I did not expect this at all. And would Stone Cold would have been cool? Yes, he would have. But honestly, I think this was better. and I wouldn't have it any other way. Undertaker comes out from the darkness, from the shadows. The Rock turns around, choke slam. So now, Undertaker disappears. You see Cody and Roman getting up, and you also see Seth to the side, like on the ropes and the chair on the ground. And Roman picks up the chair. He sees Cody in his sight, and he sees Seth in his sight, back to back. Who is he gonna hit? Is he gonna hit Cody, or is he gonna hit Seth? He decides for a second, then he looks, he makes up his mind. He hits Seth Rollins in the back with the chair because he couldn't let go of what happened in 2014 when Seth turned on him. Bro, beautiful. Like, this is the most underrated spot in the match. I damn near shed a tear. Like, this is one of the hardest pictures I've ever seen. I got y'all. I'm going to put it up on the screen. It's one of the hardest pictures I've ever seen. And you could tell Roman was still hurt. Like, he's still hurt about what happened to the Shield. Wow, man. But anyways, he would hit him with the chair. He would go to the corner. He would do the ooh, wah. He would go for the spear. Cody kicks him. He reverses it. Cody gets him into the crossroads position. He hits the crossroads one. He gets him back up. No, it's not done today, Roman. Crossroads again. Nope. Pick him up again. The trifecta. Crossroads 3 times. Cody goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. The story is finished. What a ride. What a match. One of the greatest endings I've ever seen. Everybody got up. Everybody got in the ring. LA Knight, Randy Orton, CM Punk, John Cena, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Mama Rhodes, a guy named Otis. I thought Dustin was going to be there. I'm not going to lie. Go Dust. But he probably can't because AEW or whatever. But everybody celebrated. Cody picks up the mic. He calls out Bruce Pritchard and Triple H to come out. He said the return wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for these two, man. I thought Vince was going to come out. I'm not going to lie. Nah, that would have been bad. Yeah, he just celebrated the whole time. And what a moment, man. One of the greatest title runs. One of the greatest finishes to a title run. This was the best title run of all time. I'm not hearing what nobody else has to say. They had a thank you Roman chant at the end. They acknowledged Roman. Roman, we love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to meet Rod, but you made this possible. And yeah, one of the greatest stories I've ever seen come to play. 4 years. I was 16 years old when Roman Reigns won the title. I'm now 20 years old, and just what a ride, bro. Like, the guy he won it from isn't even alive anymore. That's how long, rest in peace, Bray. That's how long he's had this title for. But in my opinion, the Bloodline story means so much to me, so I wanted to make a full like explanation and a full story on this. But let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think about the whole Bloodline story and the whole WrestleMania as a whole and everything in Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief character, everything. But I love y'all, man. This took a lot of editing and a lot of work, so I hope y'all appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and peace, man. Buzzard Production, out.
I can be proud of the legacy that's behind for more of my family to come in. This is my story, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very happy to share.